Hello there. It is Chris from Airwindows, and I'm trying to set up another composing day and jam. As usual, things are going kind of rough, but we'll see what we can get. I got to fool with some of my controls because setting this up to do this turns out to be kind of rough. Oh, I see two folks are here. Yeah, good luck today is all I can say. On the other hand, I had a sandwich. I've had most of a cup of coffee. And we're going to see whether this goes better than last time. Last time was 2 weeks ago. I did get a piece of music that I had from previous weeks of plugin demoing. I just wasn't happy with it, like at all. And here we go again. So we're going to see what happens here. Well, that's weird. Chat is supposed to be giving me an option between live chat and something else, which I forget what it is, because too many things are swirling around right now. Speaking of which, let's start setting up the logic scene. There it is. Yeah, so here would be a grand overview of logic. What I'm going to be trying to do is set it up in such a way where I can track stuff in and switch around. And what I'm going to be doing first of all is setting it up with all of its inputs and things ready, and then saving it as a template. So let's start fooling with it. One of the things going on here is I've got a bunch of inputs that you can't see unless I turn them on. Here's one. Except for, no, it isn't. Oh, that's because that was 2. Screw it, let's turn all the channels on. You may ask, why can't you hear these? Because only that first one is run to stereo out, and stereo out is the bit that we can hear. We can hear it because there's another program in here. line in that is taking the same output that I'm hearing over speakers and running into a thing called iShowU Audio Capture. Also note I don't have any of my plugins instantiated yet. I don't know if I'm even going to get around to track making, because I don't know how many hours of setting this stuff up first. But I wanted to get a start on this stuff today, and we'll just see where it goes. I absolutely don't intend to burn myself out to the point where I'm miserable like 2 weeks ago, so we'll see how far this can go. The bottom of the screen, one thing we can see is that I've got these various outputs, and my idea with running a Console 7 mix is to start running stuff to submixes, and that means that stereo out gets to be the main sub out, and these other buses will be routing into stereo out themselves. Although I don't actually, I won't actually be using those outputs. Instead, I'm going to be routing from out 7.8 or out 3.4, whatever, to bus something or other. Let's start setting those up. So no apparent change, but now that AUX is the output. Option click it to set it back to 0 again. I can probably, if I don't turn the mic up too much, I can just kind of hold it and talk into it, and it'll be fine. Technically, I could also be routing it to the audio capture. That might be worth doing at some time in the future. First things first, though. Man, a lot of handling noise on this silly little microphone. Now this might sound like a drum, but it's not. It's an annoying chord repetitive thing that I don't actually want, but I haven't gotten to the composing parts of stuff yet. Let's make some other things happen in this bus. There we go. Hell, let's do one of those logic things. Select everything, send everything to bus 1. Yay, there we go. Although we really don't actually need the audio 13 to go to bus 1, because we can just run this to stereo output directly. That's my voiceover today. Let's label stuff up. I super can't tell if anybody's even here. This is going to be one of them things. No. That was so not what I wanted to do. I don't like that. EQ. Yeah, you might as well have a little picture of blinky lights in my camera stuff while we're derping around wasting our time with this nonsense. Let's fool around with Windows a little more so that I can kind of try to see what I'm doing, if anything. There we go. I might as well make this window tiny because it's not like anybody's going to use it. If anybody does have an observation, they can certainly make it. Right now, I got other fish to fry. There we have our basic setup for a console mix. So now we're doing some high frequency filtering, and we're summing through the encoding decoding process at console is. We're not hearing anything interesting happening yet, and part of that is because I was going to set up a more complicated busing system, but I need to name these tracks something first. But let's also make some other noises happen. Well, that's annoying. I think first thing I can do is turn that down. So let's turn that down. Oh wait, what's going on here? Which little monster are you? Let's see. So there's a thing. It's not a good thing, but it's a thing. So let's start setting up buses. Firstly, let's call this AUX1 a drum bus. Just throwing the plugin on there. I don't know why that when I bet I didn't instantiate it. That's what I did. Start naming things. There's our first chord. Oh. There's our first chord. Mike. There's another one. There's another chord. Maybe I should be naming these. That, or do I have a way of coloring them? I don't remember how we do this in Logic. There's some shortcut. If anybody watching knows the shortcut for changing the colors of these tracks, I could use it. Oh, there we go. Assign track color. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to assign the colors to the patch chords that I'm using for colors. So this bass thing is going to be an orange. That being the color of the patch chord I'm using for that channel. August, I'm in Vermont, United States. So Vermont, Southern Vermont, USA. I got, let's see, where's that track color? There it is. Yellow for that one. This is going to let me not get lost when dealing with other things happening. Some things share a track color, but see, here's how this works. Seven is kind of a special case. We'll put this kick in there so that it sounds a little bit like there's music even though there's not. Funny thing is, all the stuff I do with chords is often beyond what electronic music makers do, so in some ways, even though I'm not evolving this, having it just stuck on a chord progression is not super unusual. So it gives me time to set other stuff up, I guess. There we have yet another chord. These are all chord organs. That's literally a thing. And that color is a darker blue than the one that it by default gives me, so I'll set it to that. And then I got some special cases here for the last two. There's a bank of 6 of these that are running through a particular kind of VCA. It's a WMD DVCA. It is a zero crossing VCA, same as I did with the tremolo that I did a while back. That's what I was trying to get. Glitched. Oh man, I don't even want to aspire to be me. What you can do is hang out with me while I make this ugly repetitive synthesizer music, and we'll see how far we can get it in a couple of hours. I'm like setting up everything at once. But the whole point of this is to make it a template. And if I can make the template... Oh, here, let me throw another thing on the bus. Stereo out should be going through Airwindows monitoring. This is always wise to use. It's going to dither to... Actually, that's dithering to my DAC. But you can do stuff like make everything mono, or listen only to the side channel, or do the Airwindows voice trick. If I do this, the microphone can't hear the speakers that are playing. Or peaks, we don't want that right now. Let's go back to normalcy. Let's also name some of these things that we're giving colors to. It's kind of poorly chosen names, because the thing is, I don't think that is actually a chord. I think this is just a two-note thing. But it's going through a particular setup. Maybe I should name these after the filters they're using. Bass doesn't have a filter. This chord is the Blue Lantern. It's a Blue Lantern Asteroid Operator VCF. This is a really bonkers filter. So let's... Generally these things are going to be patched in the way they are, so I'm going to make a template that covers them exactly the way they are. And this... Where did I turn it on? That's a Richter Dual Borg. Which you might think the Star Wars thing. What the Dual Borg does is this. I've got it doing this sort of cute little synthy thing going on. And I can have the peak stand out a little bit more. Or let more highs through. Let's settle this down. So I'm just setting that. That is my arpeggio. Music is way too silent. Let me see what I can do about that. This is all... actually, I'm not sure if I would call it silent. I think maybe you're going to have to just deal with it. Let me see. What I'll do is I'll turn down my monitoring and then see if I can make that more interesting. Let's see how high the stereo bus is peaking. It's peaking at minus 2.2. Let me look at OBS and see if it's behaving itself. Wow. Okay. I think I see what's happening here. That did the opposite of what I wanted. I think maybe you're not actually getting the music at all. I told you it was worse. Did you believe me? No. No, it was much worse. Let's see whether we can do something, a last minute desperation move. Okay, can you hear that? Okay, that should be the mics on this camera. Meaning this doesn't do anything unless I'm just using it for the speakers. And I'm using my speakers as a sort of PA system. Yay! Why not? What kind of music is inspiring me to make music? Not this. This is my usual complete disaster area and it's deeply uninspiring. Let me keep labeling stuff. It's not even been an hour yet, so what the heck? What were we doing? Oh, I remember one thing I was doing. Let's see. There, 13. Output device. I show you audio capture. OBS. And that. Now I have a close mic on just this little microphone, so that ought to help a little bit. Help me feel like I know what I'm doing. This chord progression is going to drive me insane. There's a special trick for this one. I'm puzzled as to why I'm not getting the same kicks I was expecting. One more patch cord. There, now that I have that, I could unplug this and plug it into here, an alternate kick. Now, notice how I called that Samp Sour? Well, I'll show you what that means if I can patch it up properly. So, Samp Sour, eh? What could that mean? Well, first of all, we have to have the gain on the out. Then we have to run a CV in, because these DVCAs, the knobs are for the first two, the first input. The other input, you have to actually patch it through. I'm going to look for a gray cable because it's a gray patch. let's show you what weirdness this does. I am a little puzzled as to how this is not louder. It does seem unreasonably quiet to the point of ridiculous. What's going on here? Aha. So this is what we've got on that input. Samsara, let's make the color bigger. It'd be nice if it would give me a gray. I wish it would. Why can you not give me gray? Well, I'll settle for cyan. It's closest to gray I can find. So what is this? This is nothing more than a music thing modular radio music. And I'll show you what it's for. If I can find a voltage output. Where is voltage source? Find me a voltage source. That's giving me pretty much a continuous voltage source. The light is lit up as red. It's pretty normal. Now, how do you make this do a new thing? By re-triggering it. Reset. Now it is re-triggering. But we can get even fancier. Use the ARP. And if I set this up with some randomness, it'll start doing really funky things. I tell it to be on the bipolar output of the clef Diaz, which is running the pitch for the ARP. what I can do with that. My little reference thing here lets me select different audio banks. So those are background noises. There's a ball stretch option. There's me. Back in the day, I used to do this and throw this over a lot of the music things. I am still curious. Oh, I know what happened, I think. I'm trying to figure out what went wrong with the filter. This filter should not be this quiet. I don't understand what happened to it. I'm getting no level, I give up. I might have to replace the filter, it might be broken. Although I can test that with another cable, maybe it's the cable. I'm going to say it's not the cable, no, it's the filter is broken. But I had it patched straight through. I'll turn all the knobs on the filter down to show me that it's busted. Take its little reference color off. Bear in mind, I also have a whole bunch of setup to do here in Logic. I haven't even made my template yet. You can hear that now the sample is bouncing off of the arpeggio. That set everything. I really wish I could set this to a gray. Maybe I'll use a cool gray. Close as I can get. Actually, very frustrating that I can't just pick whatever color. What if I wanted to pick like black and white and stuff? I guess you just can't. Not Logic can't. No, my kick is in red colors. Actually, let's go to a more... Hi, Julian. Different plugin, different module. Now I mentioned that I could do my voice in this, and this is what you're hearing. But we could be stranger than that. If I push the button again, I go to a guy called Kresge Guy. This is a guy who did announcements for department stores in like the 50s. I haven't actually used him in anything yet, but you can download it on like archive.org. Let's start labeling some of these other things. This is the kick drum. The kick drum needs to be a red color. That's the color of patch cords I'm using. Yeah, I got something else patched up here too. Which is actually also patched with a red cable. Or at least it is now. Mini shimmery. Label things. See, this one that I'm going to try to make go now is something that I would like to... Oh, I see why it's not working. I like this sound. Here, let me solo it. This is another blue lantern. It is, let me solo mic too. This is another blue lantern. And what it is some simple CMOS chips that are making a sort of electro hat. And I've got two of them next to each other. I can show you what the other one is. Mini shimmery is this one, and then the one that is red colored. Come on, you. I'm using that for the attack on the Moog-based kick. It's adding an additional click to things. And I want to have this sitting here in the mix available while we figure out what else to do. Maybe it would be good to have that as a yellow color instead. Because I believe that my other stuff starts getting quickly into green, blue, and purple again. I intend to make instructions for how to, oh here, no wait, let's not. There we go. And let's de-solo everything. Okay, that's good. Boy, I didn't want to do that. Oh, my life is made of pain. I have removed the monitoring from my mixer, and now I don't know what to do. See, here it is over here. That belongs to OBS. Now I don't know how to put it back. Thank you. Thank you, OBS. Very helpful. Let's go back to this while I'm at it. Oh, and I have another thought. Firstly, that is no, got that wrong. I think I need to have one of these patched through as a stereo rather than two mono. So let me figure out how to do that. I believe 11 and 12 shouldn't be coming in as a single one. I do not know how to... Oh, I bet I do. I bet I do, though. Oop, there we go. And we'll... No, that's not what I wanted. Delete. Ha. Now, if I patch this through, I got another patch cord not doing what I want. But I also got a stereo clap. I'm using purple patch cords for that sucker, so I'm coloring it purple. And I'm going to figure out why it wasn't doing the do. So what we've got in here is a little nest of patch cords. This is supposed to be in the out of this one. And the output of this SLKT doesn't seem to be giving me anything. So we'll unplug it. now we've got a series of percussion things, and we've removed the selector from one of them. I had this set up, maybe I'll just unpatch it. This existed to let me get some variation, which I won't necessarily want to do this way. But if I patch, like, that guy in the top third there, there, now the top input of that one is my hat, the middle one is the shaker, and the bottom one is the clap. And I'm going to call that satisfactory. Oh, and I was going to reassign the color of the shimmering. Yeah, I like the Milico Borg as well. Having done that, that's about as many of those as I need. So, final remaining thing is I'm coming in on channel 13 for this mic, but I need to add the other mics and things too. I've got one sitting on the guitar. Let's start setting that up. Now we're doubling this up very much, and we're going to get some feedback and stuff, so let's not have that. Put 14, and I'm going to label them appropriately. Dude, you have no idea. You're listening to nothing but a microphone input. Everything is so completely borked that I can't get any audio through the stream. That's fine. That's what I'm doing. Look, listen to it. I bet I can weird your headphones out. Check this out. Flanging. Just glad that I can do a room mic at all. You got nothing but a room mic, dude. You're listening to my monitoring system. This is not direct. You're not actually hearing the mix at all. You're hearing everything through a microphone over there. That's how bad off this is. If you think it sounds good, well, hey, it sounds good in the room for me too, man. Yeah, well, I mean, what you're hearing is completely and totally hosed. It is so deeply screwed, and there's nothing I can do about it. I can't get the output to patch through OBS no matter what I do. Maybe some future day I'll figure it out. I don't know, man. It'll make me cry if I listen to this later. Let's rename some of these things. That is a guitar mic over here. And call this one DI. I can run the keyboard into this. In fact, let's see what we get. Oh, I know what. I've got this set up differently. This is now getting something else. Let me show you. See, I can unpatch and repatch some of this stuff on the fly. So right now, the 15 and 16 channels. Here, let me do yet another one of these. In 15 and 16 channels, or should be, Kurzweil. No, dude, I'm gonna feel bad about it, but that doesn't have to stop me from doing it, which I guess is a good life lesson, right? Oh wait, I know, I have to turn input on. So if I set this up, I have a way of patching in the Kurzweil fairly easily. It's an old Rompler that I've got, and I've set it up. You can get a bunch of things like obviously keyboards, but also some orchestral stuff, and that seems good, so let me set this up. Then patch this through. And now I can get the rows. I'm not trying to make any music, I'm just trying to get my recording system together. So I might as well leave noise going, so I'm leaving noise going. And if I do this properly, I can get the DI to also get the mode. The Lyra. DI has all kinds of stuff on it. DI has the Rhodes, DI has the Moog, and DI has the Farfisa. And a Farfisa has a lovely clean sound. It's a really old circuitry. Like that's using all the 96K. So the purpose of a lot of this, oh here, you think that's a weird voice, a robot voice? The next sound bank is called shrinkage, and that's what this is. So the robot voice just got weirder. And I gotta say, we're making a little progress here. I don't need the Farfisa patch on there right now. There's some effects on the DI as well. Also, I need to set aside some tracks for drum tracking. So yeah, the deal is, let me rename some of these things. I'm setting up a lot of blank tracks that won't necessarily be used so that I can kind of patch something together and start laying something into a recording really fast and easily. And that just turned out to be the whole purpose of my exercise today. One further thing I should do is patch the guitar in. Let's fire that up now and turn the amp on. The amp for this literally exists upstairs in my drum room. I could change it around. I don't know. I haven't played any chords at all. This is just what it was set at. wanted to hear what this was like. It was, I put the Veritone thing into this, and it broke the green ringer circuit that I had in there, which is very sad. I haven't been able to fix it yet. Let's also set up one other thing, which is okay, that ain't working exactly the way I hoped. This is supposed to be the Alpha Juno. I do like that very much as a keyboard, but I'm not sure it's talking to me. Yeah, it should be going out of the headphone jacks if I expect to get a level out of this. I'm out of the direct jacks, so that kind of wants to go into... Here, let's try something else. There we go. So the Juno is so quiet it had to run through a preamplifier. But once I do that, it's a really good sort of classic techno synth. We're just going to call that 1516. Enough with that for the moment. Now that amp is actually full crank upstairs, so I'm not going to keep using it unless I need to. But I am able to get a respectable tone piped into the mix that way. You're hearing the mix just as a console-based digital mix, but also run through my speakers and picked up in room mics. So that's pretty sad, but I might be able to come up with some kind of alternate way to do it. I can't help but notice that my analog outs aren't doing anything, and if I can run a mic input here, I could also run external input into the ATEM, so that might be worth experimenting with. I thought so. I have here a patch cable that is 2 1/4-inch outputs to an 1/8-inch input, and technically I could run that input into the ATEM and pipe that through into the OBS and probably leave it patched up, because I'm not likely to use the analog outs for, say, 15 and 16 on a regular basis. And right now I'm doing digital mixing, so I'm not using the analog outs for freaking anything. So let's just live see what we can make happen on this. I might want to make another cup of coffee. Well, let me see if I can make this work, and if I can make this work, I'll celebrate by going off and making another cup of coffee. There is also a possibility that I have this set to microphone levels, meaning that it will blow you up momentarily, but we're going to find out. Okay. Those are definitely, this is mic level. I need to turn it down to line level. Sorry about that. Now they're line level. They're not routed anything though. Now we figure out whether we can run. Let's kill this. back to OBS again. Oh no, I'm too loud. I'm still too loud. Okay. Do we now have Blackmagic Audio capturing the line inputs? I think maybe we do. Is it coming through in stereo for you folks? Like, can you hear me when I'm talking into it loudly like this? No, I'll turn it back down right from that. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Let's start saving some of these things. What have we got? We've got multitrack. Let's save it on top of multitrack. Go back to here. See, I can't tell what I can't hear the stream output at all, so there's nothing I can do about that. Let's kill line in, because we should no longer need it. I don't know that for sure though, so we're going to have to check and find out whether I just... No, I think we're good. My aux is now getting nothing, so I can shut that off. I wish I could tell this audio mixer to go back into its little... How can we make this dock itself? Please don't do the crazy. Aha! You got a promising sight. And we just docked it and we just lost another one of the things. That was unanticipated. Now I've just screwed up the OBS. No, we're gonna leave that in. Save. And back over to here. How about we chill out Logic a little bit? This is all coming through rather loud, but we should at least have the two Borgs on both sides. So you should be hearing it on two sides now. And I could work on setting up let me give this screen back. After I shared your video, the sound is super out of control. My hope is that things are back under control now. Like, I should be able to cut this down, and now you're at a quieter level, but you can still hear the mic. And if I switch over to OBS and move back to that, I think I have compression on in Blackmagic Audio. That seems weird. I'd never told it to. Properties, advanced audio properties. That is all. Oh, Blackmagic Audio is set to plus 6 dB. I don't want that. All these should be set to 0, so now they are. And now we should have a relatively normal sound. Let's unhook that. As I just killed the drum buzz. Back up to full volume. These down because they are actually console channel, and I wanted to set up drum inputs, although I'm not really hooked up to use them right at the moment. Windows first on the thing. Okay, well this is kind of cool. Let me see. I think I saved the 16A setting, so that's good. I got a plan for a better mic input as well. So that should be different from what we previously had, which was a room microphone. That guy over there was the only way you could hear anything. Now it will be different. I'm not sure exactly how different, but one of the things I got going on is that all this is kind of loud. So I'm thinking, let's do some different stuff. Switch away from this bus, it'll go away, so I'm not sure I want to do that. Instead, let's just send all of these guys over to SynBus. Including this thing. My idea here is to make everything be going into... See, there it goes into that goes into drum bus. I didn't want to do that. When everything is all selected, it starts doing everything for you. And then clap is in stereo. I can demonstrate that. Altered the clap. The clap is actually just a WMD device. What you're hearing off of that, including its little reverb, is coming off of the module. It's one of those modern digital modules that does a lot of stuff, and that's just what you're going to get from it. And I'm recording it in stereo. So yeah, let's get back into what we've got so far. We've got buses going to stereo out. Let's set guitar to a guitar bus. The whole idea here is to set it up in such a way where like I can patch through a elaborate console-based mix and replace any of the console sections with console cascade or whatever and just overdrive everything real heavily. That, and then we could do some other kind of bus as well. Now curious, I'm not sure why I called this mic. it DI2. Or B, I think I call things A and B. Yeah, Borg A and B, so DIA and DIB. Those are channels on my preamplifier, so I know how to do those. And we'll switch off 1516. But we're going to duplicate that out. Let's firstly duplicate this once, or call that guy 13. That's going to be the same as Mike here, which I can demonstrate by doing this, and there we are. Duplicate this once over, and we'll call that 14. And these are going to go to yet another. Actually, these could literally go to drum bus, because why not? That's what they're meant to be. Meaning that maybe I want to duplicate this again, but make it be 1516. See, we're not using these at all at the moment, but the idea is to set them up in such a way where I can bring something in like a stereo keyboard and go, oh, I know what that's going to want to be. It's going to want to be DIAB. And then these purple ones, let's recolor those to bright flaring red, because they're going to be the drum kit. I'm going to try to remember what I had that set up for. And then let's also move this around, because these two mics are my left and right mics. Sound doing their recordings, it's off of literally this. It's off of literally this mic, but I'm using a different microphone for it. So that's going to be input 13. So that's going to be room. And then kick is the remaining microphone. It's actually behind my drum stool and out of phase when I set it up right, at least. And if I do that, everything ought to work out just fine. Not that I'm necessarily going to show you a test recording for drums. I could, I guess. Here, let's play. Let go, microphone. Yeah, I can probably hook this up and maybe even hit record and do a little test and see whether the drums are set up. What I'll also be doing is leaving this voice mic on, because this is technically going into room mic for recording. That pop was me switching between two different microphone inputs. Now, if all this is working, I can hit record, but I can also scamper upstairs, start playing drums, and you'll hear it through the mix. If I've got it set up right, at least. Let's do it a little bit, run it through the drum bus. That ought to work. And now, I'm not sure that I necessarily want that on. So, this should be a drum kit sound. In fact, I should even have the polarity right. So what I'm going to do right now is hit record all along. I worry that this is not right because I need to set it up as a template. So let me quickly save it as a template. I'll shut off these. I'll shut off all this. Alrighty, now that I've done that, I can turn on some of these things, and I'm not going to bother patching this through into the microphone that I usually like using for room style stuff, but let's do a little recording. Get some of this going so that I'll have something to hear over the headphones upstairs. There it is. And that's kind of messy. Let me take some of this stuff out. Oh, now what's happening? That's a weird noise. What's making that weird noise? Is it just complete overload? What's going on here? This is not what I had in mind. So let's see now. I think I just have massive overload and distortion. That's all that is. Tone tone down some of these buses. I bet that'll help. Oh yeah, I mean, I would explain it. All the buses are cranked up all the way. I can fix that. Not only that, I think they're wrong. Yeah, these are wrong. This is not right. They are reversed. They aren't supposed to be this way. This is all set up wrong. Let's fix it. That's a bus. Well and good. Oh no, they're not wrong. That is how it was supposed to be. It's decoding for the bus and going back again. So let's see. Let's try to make some sense out of all this nonsense. I'm losing it. I'm losing it, folks. I'm losing my mind. I can't function. This ain't working. Except for it's gonna have to. So let's see. Blackmagic's still coming through okay. I am losing control of this system. Let's see. Channel, that's fine. Bus is supposed to be louder. I should probably solo some of this stuff. I'll figure it out better. Wife, why do you sound like that? I'd like to know why you suddenly sound like that. That's not what I told it to do. Also, I would like to know why for I am hearing the sampler through it. That's weird. I got a feeling that maybe the Motu is just straight up freaked out. None of this is how it's supposed to be. Alright, so we got that. I don't know why the kick was misbehaving, but the kick was super duper misbehaving. Let's leave that out. And here's the thing we were going to try to do, which is go and fire up a recording and record some literal drum tracks. Now that I've saved it as a template, hopefully that's going to be enough of a head start for future reference. Okay, I'm really confused as to why I'm still hearing that frickin' thing. Why am I still hearing that? Yeah, everything's frickin' muted. Where's this coming from? I'm getting weird little echoes of that sample track, even though it wasn't on. And I know it wasn't on, but it was still showing in the stereo out. Now it's not. So, Well, let's start turning stuff on and see where we run into trouble. See, no, that's not supposed to be turning on. We got these going. We got these going. Okay. The Motu is going crazy. Okay. The Motu is going crazy. I wonder what I'm doing. That explains it. So this is no bueno. That explains it. So this is no bueno. Let's see whether we can restart. Let's see whether we can restart. Core audio. Now how's it doing? Now did that just kill? No? Okay. Hey, it's working better now. The Motu got confused and overloaded. That's what was happening. So now let's fire everything up again. It's like, thank goodness I have the compression to slightly less than it was before, because that's clearly what was upsetting it. But I mean, we've been going for hours on end, so it kind of stands to reason. Now that it's working again, while we run all of these programs at once, let's fire some of this stuff up. And at this stage, I should be able to turn this on for the room recording. And give me a minute. Do I still have any coffee? It's getting too late for me to make more coffee. I've missed out on that. So I am now going to disable this recording on the ride hat, kick drum, and the room. They're now wired up properly. Gain turned all the way down. Let's see what we get. I should be able to go upstairs, put on headphones, play drums, and you'll hear drums coming through the mix, and I'll do a little test recording of them. So let's give that a try. Why not? And let's also record some of these other things while we're at it. We'll track all this stuff at once. Let's just track everything. And if we can successfully track all of that stuff, that's a good sign. Particularly while streaming at the same time and doing everything else all at once and running Chrome for hours on end. So that'll be a good sign. Let's see what we got. Alrighty. And if all went well, I got something recorded, which is a little proof of concept of how all this madness could eventually work. Let's see where we are. Oh, they're all pretty colors too. My Little Pony, My Little... And there we go. And here is... Yeah, I think that I might actually need to pad these mics, because even though I've turned the mic levels all the way down, but... So there we go, that's the thing. We can mute all these and just hear. Now, some things about this are not right, like I don't like Logic's controls with these things, but let's make ourselves a little loop. So one of the things that's puzzling me here is why I guess it's just the overall balance. One thing I might want to do is swap these channels. I feel like I got them a little backwards. Let's see, utility. Blending very well with the and one of the things I wanted to do was maybe, no, decode is fine, but let's run the drum bass less loud. I turn this guy down, so let's bring it back up. Mute that. And here's what I was wanting to do. Let's make them heavy drums. As long as we're derping around with this stuff. There we go. No, I'm not happy with that room sound. Normally I mic the hallway. And I am miking the hallway, but normally I mic it louder than that, so that's a bit of a waste. Let's turn it off. The basic recording of these seems okay, except I'm going to want to swap the channels. I can do that at any point. But I wanted to experiment with Console 7 Cascade for this, and indeed this. And we'll get sort of more of a heavy drum. but I also wanted to fool with something else. Namely, I never defined, and I'll have to do this over again in the template. I'm not saving a template with this stuff on it. But my idea was I should also set up a reverb. Did I even record Sam Sour? No, I didn't. So that's a bunch of crazy stuff going on. And I gotta say, it ain't great drumming, but on the other hand, it's literally on 1 minute's notice with no warm-up or anything, so yeah, whatever. Here's the thing. What I was thinking for this was different depending on what bus you're on. Set up something goofy like that. And for each of our buses, we have a little reverb on it, which can serve a different purpose. So we can do that, or we can also, let's move some of our stuff around again. Let's lay a guitar track on this. Turn that on. I'm totally not going to be able to use this for like demonstrating stuff tomorrow, but that's fine. All this work that I've done now is hopefully work I won't have to do some future day when I actually have music to do rather than struggling painfully with all this nonsense. And now let's throw a guitar thing on. And guitar track. What I am now wondering is what... Let's keep going. Let's throw more random shit on you. Now the deal here is when you layer everything, it can become a big mess. But I want to be able to have an idea and layer it real fast. So that's kind of the idea of what's going on with this, is I'm trying to work out how I can do this in such a way that I can just layer stuff. So let's turn off the mics for the upstairs drums. You can also turn off their phantom power. Let's plug the Rhodes back in. Got a DI track sitting right here. But we're not hearing it. Let's find out why we're not hearing that. It's supposed to be working. So yeah, DIA in 15, that should be what this is. Did I simply not turn it up enough? Why is that? Oh, I see what I did wrong. This also explains why my channels were reversed when I thought I had that sorted out. I had just plugged in stuff into the 16A backwards. So now let's put this to play without actually recording yet and find a keyboard part. Oh, that guitar doesn't do that one. Yeah. And we just laid a weird noise with a bunch of switching around among various things on the fly, which is kind of the point of setting up a rig like this in whatever form you do it, whether you do it with just wiring stuff up together with CMOS circuits or whatever. The idea is to be able to go, oh, I'm playing a Rhodes solo, but if I hit this button, I can throw the Lyra 8 in there. And let's shut off the DI record. We're going into stereo out there, which seems fine. Pump it up a little and unmute a bunch of this stuff and balance it. And yeah. So this is kind of like, I spent over 2 hours trying to hook everything together to the point where I could start throwing weird tracks and things together like this. That was the idea. That was always the idea, was being able to throw stuff together and just hit weird buttons, switch things between other things, throw a guitar solo on, sure. Throw drums on, sure. All of that kind of stuff. That's what I'm shooting for with this. And that is always the hope, is that, that's something that can work. I'm delighted that I was finally able to patch the audio through to the output. Granted, it's in a really weird, ugly way of doing it, but that's fine. Sorry about killing you guys with running line level inputs into a mic level. That was no doubt really painful, but oh well. And I think I need to go and maybe I'll make myself a cup of chai or something. I'm not going to make another cup of coffee, nor am I going to record any music, because this is as far as this little train goes. I'm going to take a minute and save it, but only for amusement purposes. Derp Edge. And yeah, this was the trial run of this crazy madness. Now, the hope is that Let's. I have to add the Blackmagic audio to main camera. Give me a second. Alrighty. Now you can hear me hooked onto main camera. I'm sorry, I switched away from the one OBS scene that had the Blackmagic audio in it to a different one that was the main camera, which didn't have the Blackmagic audio in it, and therefore you could not hear me, and I cut the audio while I was doing it. All of this stuff is exhausting some days. But, I think you can agree that, like, when it comes together, there are some fun things about it, like being able to improvise in a studio this way. Whether or not it's just stuff that you've acquired and thrown together over the course of, oh, look, that stuff is still going. Let's tell it to stop. And it stopped. Like, the idea is to be able to jam out something. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to do stuff like jam out lyrics and vocals and stuff, but I will have a microphone available if anything comes to mind, so it's always possible. And having a digital template like this in Logic or whatever else you need to do, whether maybe you're in Logic, maybe you're in Reaper, I have increasingly, I'll tell you why I've been warming to Ardor. And it's not because I'm enjoying using it anymore, because I'm not using it, but I saw something on their forums that was impressive. What had happened was somebody showed up fairly recently, and they asked, like, please help, I'm trying to run Ardor, and I can't make it work, it's not doing anything, and I'm running 10.6.8. And I went, wait a minute, I am running 10.6.8 on my primary compiling laptop. I'm doing that on purpose so that I can have massive backwards compatibility. What is this other person doing, showing up, suddenly running 10.6.8 and going, please, can I have technical help for running the current version of Ardor or whatever? I think they were actually looking for an older version, and it's not running on 10.6.8. Within a day, somebody had popped up in the Ardor forums and made that guy a build. They made that guy a build of Ardor that would run on his machine in like less than a day. And that impressed me, because I care a great deal about people being able to run on whatever hardware they've got and that stuff being supported, rather than just being like, oh, get a new machine. It's like, well, sometimes you can't. And that impressed me a whole bunch. Like, very abruptly, it impressed me. And so I'm still not running Ardor. If I was to be running it here, let's what a clever little switcher this is. Just set ATEM to not switch cameras around. I had the ATEM switcher software shut off entirely. It programs the switcher to switch by itself, which is kind of neat. And not only that, I will zoom in a little bit and get back to my usual screening type things, except for with a different microphone. So I saw somebody in the Ardor forums do that. They got a tech support call for somebody that was running 10.6.8 Snow Leopard on who knows what, and built them a special version of Ardor for them to run like in under a day, because somebody was capable of doing that, and they just scampered off and did it. That impressed me hugely. So I've warmed up to Ardor on the back of having seen that happen. Like, if that community is capable of doing that, I'm impressed. And as far as this audio jam and so on, and I apologize for not doing any real music. I had really hoped to, but that's not going to be possible today. I am fried after the couple or 3 hours that I just did. It's been about 2.5 hours. That's 2.5 hours enough, as far as I'm concerned. But if I reload that template and then do the modifications that I did when tracking that stuff onto it, I ought to have a working template where the next time I do that, like, I'll have the input going into the ATEM so that I have a direct input of, and granted, it's like going out of a DAC at 96K and it's going into the Motu at God knows what, probably 48, and being resampled and then being re-encoded and sent over to this and that and the other thing. But, the Blackmagic audio capture is reliable. The video capture is not. Sometimes it takes me half an hour to get the video capture up and running. But the audio capture is how I know that the ATEM Mini works, because you can always just load it up and it will immediately work and be fine. I'm working on getting another video thing going where I can take the HDMI and run it as something reliable that'll just work, and maybe we'll do better quality. But for now, I think I am about done. Nice that I've had a little bits of chat this entire time. I don't know, maybe that will change if I start doing real music. I don't know. But it's been a journey. And I don't know if it would benefit anybody for me to put up the template, because what you'd need is to have my entire system set up the way that it's set up. But what I would hope is that seeing me setting it up, going through all of the difficult awkwardness of making that happen, might be something of a help towards if you were trying to do this kind of thing, namely sit down with the DAW and start jamming stuff into it. Also notice I wasn't using the DAW's tempo at all, which I think is kind of important. Like, you don't necessarily want to be using the DAW's tempo because it's not going to be as tight as like old school Roland style or modular style timing of instruments and stuff, because that stuff is running, the rise times of the triggers are in the nanoseconds, and you're not going to get the same communicative qualities out of stuff being fired by like internal MIDI systems in the DAW or like running loops or whatever. So I never had to synchronize the tempo, because the tempo was synchronized off of the synth here, and that's what was really doing that. I never got to plug in. I improvised a couple of chords to change what chord it was doing, because it was doing like that D that Joku Saxophone was talking about. And I like hit other notes randomly, that's now sitting on top of the modular, but that's patched through so that it's programming the nerdseek, and I've just loaded it up in such a way that I can hit the relevant keys and it'll play whatever chord corresponds to that key. And I got it set up that way. It's my strange system doing its thing and doing as well as it can. And yeah, I should fire up, let's switch back over to Chromium. And yeah, seeing as I've got some people actually here, I should also mention, those of you who like checking out my streams and stuff, let me suggest a possibility. I've been thinking about doing the Minecrafting thing again, but I don't want to let anybody into my world. I want to just derp around doing stuff. You can have the seed and run your own world, but I'm not looking to do a social Minecrafting thing so much as just spend time like hanging out and talking to chat while mining blocks or whatever. And I had picked out a nice little environment where that can be done. But thing is, here, I don't need to be hearing myself through the speakers. It'll be just fine without that. One of the things I was thinking about was, yeah. And since I'm not doing that, I can turn them up a little bit. I had picked out this spawn with like some, nice meadows and stuff. I picked large biomes. I picked a big area where it was just like, oh, it's a bunch of fields and, places to go, but it's not too crazy. It's like normal. And I've been seeing people fooling around with the most recent snapshot where they're doing insane things with caves and mountains and stuff. So I thought I would try like backing up my stuff there and then firing up the same local server with the newest snapshot. And it ran better frame rate than the previous one did, and also looked basically the same. But I mean, if the new snapshot is to be believed, if you dig down, then you can go below 0 to this area of like 0 to negative 64, where it is maniacal stone, like this crazy, ominous, dark stone, and that's where you find all the diamonds, and I'm not sure what else goes on down there, but it seemed kind of neat. So once I catch up in the various things, here, there's apparently 10 people still watching this stream. I have a surprise for you. Arg. I can't make sense of this thing. Here. I has a surprise. That surprise is called a M1 MacBook Pro. You can't see it real good this way. Let me see. And let me see what else I can do with this. Oh, this dumb thing. Stop that. Stop. Oh. M1 MacBook Pro acceleration. Help me, I'm losing my mind, nothing works. M1 MacBook Pro, a version of acceleration that's compiled for M1 and runs and lets me change the sliders. Now note, the version of Logic Pro I'm running is 10.6.1. I'm not sure how much that has to do with anything, but this is a that's an M1 MacBook Pro. It is running one plugin, acceleration, and I'll tell you why. And it's not because I was being clever about it. I asked for help. I asked this guy called Oli Larkin. I'm on his Patreon. I'm supporting his work. He's doing like something called iPlug or whatever, which it was a plugin graphics framework that involved SVG. And I was like, that's super cool. I should help you do that even if I never understand it. And so I haven't understood it, but I've been throwing him a buck. And I was like, do you know how to do this? And he was like, well, the problem with the controls is a version of Logic, and it doesn't have to do with the M1. So I assume I'm not running that version of Logic. But he was like, oh yeah, it's not that hard to do this. And I'm like, really? Well, and he turned around and looked up my GitHub and grabbed the first plugin he saw, which was acceleration, just alphabetically first, and made some changes that I don't understand, and compiled it and sent me the project files. And here, this is how you do it. I didn't understand what he did, but he did it, which proves it can be done. So my work is going to go into supporting the M1 going forwards. I have another plugin coming on Sunday, assuming I can follow up and do the VSDification of it and all that kind of stuff. But at some point it's going to switch over to supporting the new machine, because it's now been proved that that can work. And the next thing is for me to go through all 200 plus plugins that I have made and do what I'm calling the modern AU version in a separate folder and make those available to people. So that's on the agenda. That's coming. That is coming as soon as I can either work out what Oli did, or I might end up just having to hire him and go, look, I will pay you, walk me through this. Walk me through what you did so that I can do it. I don't have to understand it, but I have to know the step-by-step process. Because if I know that, I can do it over 200 times and get everything ported, and then write it down so that future stuff also gets supported. And that's the plan. So on that note, I will bid you adieu and go and make dinner and probably a cup of chai and settle down a little bit. Maybe listen to the horrible noises that I made in Logic, and attend to getting that template straightened out so that it makes better sense and works properly. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting spring. It's going to be an interesting spring doing some of these things. And we'll just see what happens. And I feel like in order to have good days where I jam out on something and I come up with good music or make new plugins or whatever, I do have to go through these days when it's just pulling teeth the entire time and it's a big pile of mess. And I'll do what I can as far as getting the technical hurdles that are not down, things like the camera is not firing up and working in OBS is not my fault. That is the drivers failing, and I'm trying to replace them with a new way of doing it, which won't be subject to that problem. And I'll do the best that I can, but for the time being, I'll just keep hanging in there and see what I can make happen. One upside of today's work is that I did it with a decent light rather than trying to do everything with the flashing nightclub lighting and stuff. If I have everything sorted out and I figured out what I wanted to do and I was really clear on what I was trying to do, I might be able to do it with the cool flashy lighting. But I made it a little easier on myself this time, and it seems to have been a good choice. Anywho, I'm not seeing anybody chatting in the last half hour, so I will say it's been 2 hours and 42 minutes. And I'll talk to you folks later. Bye-bye.